you know how. Nothing ever stays the same. Once you let it change. It's like a family tree. Part of you and part of me. And if we should separate, go your own way, I won't wait.
Bring the funk back.
Busy little creatures behind the scenes. We've got a fair bit on. I have to make sure that my microphone and everything is working. So somebody out there can give us a thumbs up, tell me the microphone's working. It's all good. We've got a few on. We've got Joel, Glenn, Jacob, Bo, Shane, Christy, Shane, Lee, Trent, Luke, Paul. There's another Paul. There we go. We've got plenty of people on, which is really, really cool. Don't forget to whack your postcode into the comments there. Thanks, Harry, for telling me you can hear me, because we give away a prize, obviously, for the postcode. And being that we're going to talk with the guru and stuff about cod, we've got a little cod pack. We've got some surface lures, some subsurface lures, and some really cool big swim bait plastic. So that is the prize this week for the postcode. If you don't know how the postcode is drawn, my son sits inside watching the show and randomly sends me a postcode throughout the show. So that's the way it goes. We've got plenty of thumbs up there. Thanks, Adrian. Thanks, Mick. Yeah, all good. We've got plenty of volume, so that's awesome. Listen, there's a couple of guys this year that have been fishing the house apart. Obviously, we've already had langers on. We've done a bit of a pick on langers. But our guest tonight has really, really picked the year apart and been in sensational form with only a few little things going, a flip of the coin going the other way. He probably would have had a lot more money in the pocket this year. So he has been fishing extremely well. So I did want to get him on and have a talk about it. We'll also talk about obviously the Central Victorian Lure Casters Pro Series on the weekend, held at the Bundalong Tavern, run out of Lake Mulwala. There's some interesting stuff to come out of that. Obviously, we can ask Rick any questions about the Cod Nationals. The second place finish at the Cod Nationals, and only by little bits. And, we can go into all those questions. So we will get him on. Don't forget to put your questions that you want me to ask Rick in the comments, so I can then flick them onto the screen and we can talk about them. So if you've got any Cod questions for Rick, make sure you put them in the comments. I've got plenty, so if you don't put it in there, it doesn't really matter. If you ask a good question, you'll go in the draw for Harry will choose somebody, and it will be a prize drawn out of Harry's box. You have to be on the air to win that. So when we announce you've got to tell us you want to either take what Harry draws out of here or what's in the magic box. So we'll get to that later on, but that'll all come with your questions that you ask. So that's how it works. Listen, I'm gonna not talk too much about other stuff because we need to get this guy on, because as I said, he's in red hot form. Don't forget, just as I said, I'll give a tournament recap as we go through. The 23rd and 24th of April is the AOT clearance round. The 29th and 30th of April, going into the 1st of May, is Teams Fishing Australia at Mulwala. They're the only two comps I know about that are up and coming in the next month. So if you're going to attend those, I'll probably be having a chat with you. All right, so let's get him on. I've talked enough. Let's get the guru on. G'day, mate. How you going? Well, hang on. I've got to unmute you before we. Yep, there we go.
Evening, Captain.
Everyone how you going? You'd have to be feeling quite good about your fishing so far this year. I mean, a few little things have gone against you to really have that absolutely stellar year, but your results have been up there with the best of them. I mean, you've placed well, you've fished well. As I said, just a few minor little things changing, and you probably would have walked away with a big check at the Nationals, and 3 checks over the weekend.
Yeah, look, it's been enjoyable. I guess with my fishing, I'm straight out. If you're not first, you're last. So
yeah.
I'm only fishing for that. Look, it's been good, but yeah.
For the viewers out there that don't know, you've been on the show before. You're a guest on the show. You're a big supporter of the show through your business as well. But you are that type of person that if you're not first, you're last, and you don't like to talk about it. But for the people that are out there, they should know that, second in the Nationals is an achievement in itself. Anyone would be happy with that. And as you said, as we've talked about off the air, a couple of things going different either way on the weekend. You might have walked away with all 3 checks. So, you've got to take confidence in the fact that you are fishing extremely well on a dam that is known as, Lake Misery.
Oh, yeah, look, I guess I have been putting a lot of time on the water. That's sort of worked out well for me. And, yeah, Lake Misery, but gee whiz, it's changed a lot this year. Like, it's fishing, and everyone who fishes it will know it's fishing the best I've ever seen it. Obviously, a lot of small fish that can hinder us all, but to get the fish over the rails and sort of run from there.
Now we've had a little bit of a talk about it in the sense of we're not scientists or anything like that. We're just fishermen that go out there, but we're noticing a big change through the last. Well, at least a couple of years, but it would probably be 3 breeding cycles through the last 3 years have been absolutely insane with the numbers that are coming through. Like going through some of the stats from the weekend with the Central Victoria Lure Casters comp, there was a lot of bigger fish caught, but there was still a lot of medium fish caught and a shitload of small fish. So the the last three breeding cycles must have been good ones.
Oh, look, yeah, like I said, we're not scientists, but the numbers of those small fish is incredible, ridiculous. It's like as we spoke about, a different subject, but like the reddies have been going berserk there for the last couple of years. Like I've never seen them before, like consistently. And I think, hopefully, I'm just waiting for the water to turn upside down and kill them all, and bring us back to reality. But I'm just excited to see what next year brings for Mulwala, particularly with the drawdown aspect of it. There will literally be at least one fish on every single stump, snag, laydown out there.
And that's right. Like you have sort of gone against the grain, and you've been chewing salad for the last two comps. You've been out there fishing in that weed. How much fun are you going to have when that weed's gone, and you're going to be able to get the similar spots to what you're fishing without the weed there, and the fish are just going to be in laydowns?
Oh yeah, ridiculous. I guess that things will. You've still got to turn around and then and work out the areas that they're going to be in. And as like Mulwala does, I think they'll still change. Every sort of few weeks or a month, definitely those fish in those areas. If you think you've got an area where you're going to catch, 20 legal fish a day, that'll change. That'll change sort of, every 2 or 3 weeks.
Yep. Now you've said you've been putting in a fair bit of time on Mulwala, leading up to the Nationals, leading up to this one. You've been going out as much as you can, work permitting. But that's probably one of the questions I had for you tonight was how much, say, going back to the start of April, late May, when you start putting in time into a dam like Mulwala for a big comp like the Nationals, a month out, how much does it change between then and now?
Oh, I guess it's not a whole lot. Depends how you fish it. You want to be sustainable when you don't. There's no point for Mulwala in me an area. If I find an area, say the size of 4 or 6 tennis courts,
yep,
that's got fish in it. And when I say got fish, if I go in an area that size and I've caught or had attention from 4 or more fish, I'll go, that's an area, there's something going on there. And obviously the areas will consist, if it's up against a riverbank or a creek, inside the lake,
yeah,
you've sort of got to narrow those areas down. But yeah, it's.
Yeah, no, so once again, throwing into your situation, where you fished for Nationals, and I'm not asking for spots, but where you fished for Nationals and the Central Victoria Lurecasters comp on the weekend, and I say this with a little bit of tongue-in-cheek, because a lot of people have changed over to the live systems, and they're doing the forward-facing sonars, and they're carrying on with how good it is and how the big fish are being caught and whatnot. I can nearly guarantee where you were fishing that it wouldn't have mattered if you had it or not, that you wouldn't have been able to friggin' use it anyway.
No, you wouldn't see. You might see a little bit of the top if there was a big, fish cruising with his back out of the water, but that'd be about it.
Yeah. So, you've proved the theory that it's the be-all and end-all to go and get live systems to catch cod. But that's what I'm trying to say, is the fact that, you've gone out there and gone, well, okay, I'm going to fish this area. I don't need it. I'm confident in it. I'm confident in my lure. I'm confident in what I'm doing. And besides that, you're in that much friggin' salad that you can't won't pick up anything anyway.
Yeah, that's right. You won't work in there. But look, on the scoping one, I've got it personally. I don't like the style of the fishing, and that's why I'm no good at it.
Yeah,
because I just can't spend the time on it. It's like for me picking up a swim bait. I don't like throwing swim baits, particularly. So, it's something I'll go and do, but I'll do it for 5 or 10 minutes. I won't do it for half a day that I need to do it in.
Yeah.
But
do you think that that's ever been a downfall to you, because you're always finishing up there?
Oh, well, look, it's got to be a downfall, because you need to be more versatile with your fishing.
Yeah.
But like I said, I straight out don't enjoy that style of fishing. Now, obviously, depending on the weather, the boats are more coming up. It's not saying you have to have it, but it's going to be a huge advantage for you to have the technology. If the weather's going to be crap, which it looks like it is, it changes it. You know, you're not going to be sitting out in the basin or in the river and be able to scope. If it's, you know, if you've got waves coming out of the front of your boat, it's probably a bit difficult. I'm sure the guys who do it all the time, they've got it nutted, but the majority of the field, I can't see it sort of working. Yeah. So they might just have to go back to just fishing.
Good old-fashioned fishing.
Yeah.
All right, we'll get into a couple of questions because there's a few coming through. So I'll throw them at you, and we'll see how we go. We'll go way back to Sean. Has asked, "What's your favourite spinnerbait to throw at cod?"
Not sure depends what he means by that, but I mostly throw like a McGrath spinnerbaits, but for actual spinnerbait size for me at the moment is probably like a 1/4 ounce. Definitely Colorado blade. Yep. I think the cod want the thump. You know, to sort of bring them in, I guess.
Yep. No, and that's fair enough. So it's just a Colorado blade on a standard spinnerbait. You're not, there's no twin blades, orange, blacks, blues, friggin' all the shit. It's you know, straight what you buy out of the box.
Yeah, never been big on twin blade. I've gone through it all where you're trying to work it all out. So I'm putting, you know, different trailers on, different colours, and the best look. I will change colours, but the best thing you can do is keep your colours simple. You know, white, black, or purple. just your basic different contrasts, and just throw them.
Yeah, and that's it. Throw them. Don't sit there looking at the scope all day. Actually, keep casting, because you don't pick everything up on the freaking scope. All right, thanks for your question, Sean. This is probably a tricky one, but I'm going to put it up anyway because I think you've just really answered it straight up. So Luke wants to know, what's your favourite cod lure and colour? Well, it's not a swim bait, so you've answered that, and you're probably a spinnerbait.
Yeah, look, to be honest, thanks, Luke. Spinnerbaits for me would be 98% of the time. The only time I really throw anything else, especially at the moment, I guess with all the weed, everything else is just hard work. Who wants to, you know, crank a hard body down when you're just going to drag it up full of weed? It's just too hard. You're not keeping that lure in the water long enough. It's just a spinnerbait, mate. And colours, well, look, purple's my favourite colour, but it depends. You know, like I said, I'll change it up from purple to white or to a more of a natural sort of green sort of colour. But they're probably the three main ones. I'm not going for very often for a bright colour or a bright filler or anything, because I don't think it looks as good. I've caught plenty of fish on it before, as everyone has, but yeah.
Keeping it in your comfort zone. So you're comfortable and confident with that, so that's what you throw.
Exactly. Look at like Connor, you know, on the weekend. You look at the lures he was throwing, like those cutter furrows. You see him all the time. Like, he loves them. Just so confident with them. And I know that like when they struggled a bit in the Nationals, and they're really good, but they weren't throwing things that they were confident with. So if you're going to fish something like a Nationals, you need to practice those lures.
That's where the Nationals is such a good format, and I've said this before 100 times on the show, is the fact that you know, it separates the guys. Like, I'm confident in one style of lure, you're confident in one style of lure, but to win a Nationals, you've got to be able to do everything across the board. Where on the weekend they could use their favourite lure all weekend, and it really worked wonders for them because they were confident in it, wasn't it?
Hey, absolutely.
So there's a few more questions I'll get into in a minute, but I just want to go over. So in the Nationals, you ended up coming second, and as you said, not first is last, but you come second to 3-time now winner, the Pinters, with their stuff. But I believe that you know, this is the shit stir part of the night. I believe you were pretty close to winning it, but you had a little bit of a mishap on the dash day. Can you tell us about that?
Yeah, we basically hadn't raised a fish. we're up sort of near majors, I guess. And Kyle had got a undersized fish, still scoreable, but undersized. So still went to towards our points, but not for the dash. Anyway, so I was fiddling around with that, and we're making our way out. Oh, he's making his way out on the electric, and then he gets another one, and it's illegal. So now I'm looking at the time, going, this is a 6-7 minute run. Once we get in the river back, we've got like, we've got like 6-7 minutes left in the clock. Like it was going to be that tight. Anyway, we get out, and I've done the fish measuring. We're in, we're off, and I'm strapping stuff down. I'm saying, because Kyle was driving me boat, I said, Kyle, if I fall out now, you keep going, because it was going to be that tight to get back in. And we're coming in, and Kyle went to sort of slow down a bit. I'm like, keep going. Like, put his foot back down again, and then was coming in a bit hot, and put it in the neutral. Went to put it in reverse to pull it back, and it stalled. And we just had a bit of a smash into the concrete there at the guy in the shop.
The button. So and that gave you a little bit of a late penalty. You missed by a few seconds.
We missed, I think it was by 25 seconds, I believe. 28 seconds, 25 seconds. And so we couldn't enter that fish into the dash. It still went to some scoreable points, but not into the dash, which we needed. Had we have got that back in 25 seconds, then into the next day, we win the Nationals.
Yeah. So unfortunately, with that fish that would have won it for you that he caught late actually cost you being late, and then so it just wasn't meant to happen.
No, that's right.
No. And we've all done that. As I said, we can't let anyone come on the show without picking on them a little bit. We've given Laggers a bit of a hard time over the last 3 weeks, so it's good to pick on somebody else.
Like I said to Kyle, I said, mate, if I had known it was going to be 25 seconds, I would have said, just go, keep going, like 80, 90 k's an hour, put that boat on the dirt, or push it back in later on.
Yeah. I actually got a late penalty in an ABC down at Glen Maggie because I didn't read the rules, and purely my fault. But I believe that I thought you had until it ticks over the next minute, but it has when it ticks over that minute, and I was actually 3 or 5 seconds late. I did the big sideways, pulled in, and Coey jumped off the front. I think it was Dave Lawson jumped off the front of the boat, hung the hook on, and we were literally seconds late and copped the penalty for that. So
I can tell you it was 100% Dave Lawson, because he's mentioned it a few times.
Yeah.
Buddy Corey cost him a couple of points.
Yeah, it cost a fish, because the fish down there were only only that long. But it was my stuff up. I thought I had more time coming back, but and I thought that you had anyway. Thought. So that was my fault. Let's get into so off the Nationals. We all know Pinter's won it. I'm going to try and get Thomas on the show, and we'll have a chat to him about his three-peat in the Nationals and whatnot. But I want to talk about the weekend. There was some, the really good comps for people to take that next step. So for anyone that wants to learn tournament fishing, I always say go and join in and join the Central Big Comps and go to one of their Super Series rounds or whatever they want to call them. But then if you want to take that next step and learn about tournament fishing in its wholesome, it's not that expensive and really well run. Jump into the Pro Series. So we had 29 boats on the weekend, and I think if you look on their Facebook page, they've got the results up there. But I was just flicking through today. You guys won session 1. Cuttafurra, which is Connor and Phil, won session 2 and 3. But the second and third places on each day were all different. There was different people coming into the second and third. And there was a lot of bigger fish caught. As I said, that wasn't just all small fish. Big shout out to Phil for his 114 that he caught. That was his first meter, and to do it with the comp was awesome. You had yourself, you caught near on an 80. I think it was a 79. Derek caught a 70. Kyle caught a 72. Leith caught an 82. and I caught a 70. So there was a lot of bigger models still floating around out there, but in that 55 to 68 range, I reckon there would have been, a lot of them caught as well in that series. And then there was an unlimited amount of under 45. So they decided that if it wasn't 45, it wasn't worth putting on the bag mat, and we've just thrown them back. How many unders do you reckon you caught?
Undersized fish from, as in the non-scoreable, so the 45 centimetre down?
Yeah.
Oh, look, I'm not really sure, but over 10 a day anyway.
Yeah.
Definitely, which has been the pretty much average all year.
So it keeps you motivated. Cod fishing can be really, really mentally tiring when you're not catching fish regularly, but having those little ones popping through all the time kept the adrenaline up all day, I found.
Oh, look, absolutely. So all I was telling everyone in Lake Mulwala that my average is 4 fish. Normally. Not counting this year. 4 fish, and that could be, any size, but still only 4 fish. That could be 4 fish, 40 centimeters, or it could be, a meter and a couple of 60s, but still only 4 fish. So some days you go out and you don't know, and some days you go out and you might get 6 or 8. Like 8 would be a really good day. Now, if you don't get at least 8 of those sort of 450s, there's something really wrong.
It's just changed, hasn't it? Like I've talked to you, and a lot of other guys that have fished Mulwala for a long period of time, but I don't think anyone said that they've ever seen it fish as good at what it is this year.
No.
Have you talked to any of the old timers that said, back in the day, Mulwala used to fish like this? Like everyone that I've talked to has said that this is just insane.
Yeah, not the ones that aren't full of what.
Yeah,
I guess. There's blokes out there that we know that just dribble on too much. But no, I've never seen like this. So I love it. It's unreal. Like what happens when all of those fish? Obviously, there's going to be a lot more getting taken because all the guys that take fish, those legal size 55 centimetre fish are going to take, their couple of fish a day, and that's fine. But the numbers of those 45s, I'm just praying that they get up to those, those 60 plus models.
Do you think the drawdown will affect that in the sense? Because, like I was thinking about this the other day, if there's all these 45s and they're hiding in the weed and they're all snug and safe, once they do the drawdown, every fish is in the channel. Do you think the big cod's just going to go around and eat all the little ones?
Oh yeah, for sure.
Not leave any left.
They definitely will eat a lot of them, but the little ones aren't going to be silly either. Like there's just too many of them. If you picture how many teams was there in the comp on the weekend? 30 teams.
Yeah, 30 teams.
They're all catching 10 small fish a day, like same as in the Nationals. Everyone's catching bucket loads of cricket scores of those small fish. I feel like there's too many of those. If you quarter those small fish, there's still a lot in there. So
yeah,
I think it's going to be unbelievable in the years to come. And
they're continuing to bite too. They're not like I suppose getting gun shy and hiding away after they've been caught. You're catching those fish over and over again. See Dave Lawson put that photo up from the day before yesterday or whatever it was with a big cod with half his jaw missing, or he had a big hole in his lip. Like Dave said, it was all still swollen and whatnot. So he'd probably been caught a few days earlier, and he's still out there eating. So they're not shy on friggin' eating after you've stung them a couple of times.
Yeah, that's right. I mean, we definitely give them too much credit. They're still just cod, aren't they?
Yeah, for sure. All right, we'll get some more questions going because they're popping them in. Danny wants to know, what's your favourite tactic for fishing at Mulwala? Now, I know we've probably covered it already.
Yeah, probably. Yeah, like I said, we're just throwing spinnerbaits in the shallow water, I guess.
Yep. And as I said, if you've covered it, that's fine. Kyle, who I fished with on the weekend. How do you think the fishing is going to be, say, July, August after the drawdown? So the drawdown's been and gone. It's filled back up. I think how do you think the fishing's going to go then?
Look, I think it'll be brilliant still. I had the same fear on the last drawdown. Because I was obviously still riding me fishing then, and I was worried that, is it going to take a long time for these fish to get back up onto the flats, or are they just going to hang around the river? But I'm thinking, those fish, when the smaller fish, when I say smaller than a metre fish, are going to go, we're out of here as soon as we can, and just bolt. So, I think it'll be as good as ever. It's typically harder in winter to catch cod. They catch the smaller cod, but
is that because the bigger cod become more active, or they're just used to the temperature change and they can handle it better?
I think it's the temperature change. Yeah, that's exactly what you said then.
Damien wants to know when we'll see Ruben fishing with you again.
Probably never.
He's done.
No, well, he'll. Let's just say when his first child's like 3, he'll probably come back then. We'll have had enough and want to come back. Yeah. No, Whippy, I won't be inviting him again. He's got to come to me now after ditching me in the last minute.
Yep. And your apprentice, I forget his name. What was the young fella's name?
Harry.
So
should be easy one.
Remember that, yeah. So Harry would have had an absolute fat time on the weekend. I mean, not only has he called in the last minute, but he's walked away with a little bit of coin there as well. So he would have thought this tournament fishing's easy.
Yeah, look, he did extremely well. Like it was literally the first time that he'd cast lures all day. Like the first time he'd just done bait fishing and cast every now and then, but all day. And I've told him, so look, come Sunday, you're going to be wrecked, mate. And sure enough, come Sunday, when he left my place, he left his good rain jacket, one of his new work hoodies that I brought him, and another one of his own hoodies on the back of his ute, and drove off down the road. Yeah, but he was good. He loved it.
So you'll obviously get another invite when things are going the right way.
Yeah, look, at some point he needs a little bit of work, but if he keeps doing it, he'll be definitely one of the guys to look out for.
Yeah, that's cool. That's cool. It's good to see them come through too. I fish with a lot of different people, and I've tried to do that. Not just fish with the same people all of the time. One, to get to know more people, because when I moved back to Victoria, I didn't know a lot of people. So it's like we just go out and fish with whoever. And it's really enjoyable to fish with a whole heap of different people. You learn as much off them as what they're learning off you, I suppose. All right, let's go to another question. I've seen one here. Ian Rogers wants to know, how much do you pre-fish?
Just a little bit more than you, mate.
I think between you two, you'd know every pocket of the dam.
Yeah, look, is he still turned on? Hopefully he's not. He's an absolute gun.
Yeah,
absolute gun. I've seen him fishing in the Nationals there a few years back, and he come past, and like when he's focused, like you can just see that focus in his eyes. It's just like get out of the road, and that's all he's concentrating on his next cast. They move probably a little bit quicker than me. They do move around quite quick. In spite of it, like it's a couple of the best fishermen that I've ever seen, and like I said, hopefully he's tuned out.
Yeah, you don't want to give it a big no, but they are, and they're consistent too. And and I'm not calling them, over the hill, but over a long period of time, they've been consistent. It's easy. Sometimes you see the flash in the pan come in, they do it once. 2 or 3 years later, they're gone. They're out of the system. But you have guys like that have just been consistently doing it for 10 years. It's just amazing to see how good they are. All right. Keep going through the questions. I'm going to try and avoid any more of those questions about what you like to throw, because we all know that. there's a couple of comments in there that I won't mention.
Yeah.
Asher wants, there's a good one. It's not totally. Asher wants to know what's your go-to beer when fishing.
Yeah, no, I'm a bit disappointing with that. I don't have a beer on the boat when I'm fishing. When I'm fishing, I'm just focused on that. That's what he's a bit boring with that one.
No, and I think that's the rule in most of the comps these days anyway. There's no alcohol in the water. But yeah, do you have a drink when you get off the water?
Even when fishing in general. Look, there's a question somewhere there about that Christy asked about. I think it might have been like top water. I don't do much top water fishing. We'll get on that later, I guess. But yeah, basically top water fishing to me is obviously an evening or a morning. I don't drink beer in the morning, and in the evening I want to have a beer, so I'll go have a beer rather than go fishing. So.
Go fishing, yeah. I talk about it with my brother all the time. He goes, "Oh, I don't catch a lot of cod." I said, "That's because at 5 o'clock in the afternoon you're sitting down drinking a tinny and you're not going out fishing."
Yeah.
And then you're too hungover in the morning to go back out for the morning bite. All right. I'm just going through what. Or now some of the guys are actually going to try and hang some shit on you, I think. What's more complicated, catching meter cod or plumbing on the wall behind you? Oh, they're looking at the you've got a thing on the wall behind you there.
Oh, okay. That's a little skills thing we have our apprentices do.
Yeah.
It's obviously a little map of Australia for plumbing. That's for me. That's harder.
For sure. Another one. Chris has asked, do you think the weed is contributing to the high numbers of fish at the moment?
Oh, 100%. 100%, Christy. Like the bait that's obviously in there, that's the small fish can hide in there, which they clearly are. But yeah, it's like just the amount of bait in there. Once the drawdown comes back up, or again, the bait balls that we'll see out there in our sanders now will be insane.
Yeah. And that's, I suppose we're comparing it because it's so close. When Hume over the last few years has just built up and built up and built up, and these Redfin are spawning 4 times a year, and they're taking tons and tons of Redfin out. You see every post on the local Facebook pages, people taking boatloads, which is I've got no problem with because I take as many as I can eat as well. Taking all these fish. But the bait balls in Hume are like football fields in size. Do you think that that's sort of going to happen as soon as that weed? Because I know on the weekend, traveling through the weed, there was, millions of little fish just swimming comfortably through all that weed. But as soon as it's all gone, they're going to have to go somewhere. So they'll school up because that's a natural defense.
Yeah, it'll be really cool. It'll be something that, we've all seen plenty of bait balls at Mulwala, but it won't be like this. Yeah, because they'll have nowhere to go. So they're going to have to stick together.
And that's their natural defense. I mean, it's the closer if you can get into the middle of that ball, you're the safest. Let's ask him a question here. How do you break down a waterway? So if you were, say, put that in a Mulwala situation, if you were going out to, and you only had a pre-fish day on Friday before you got out without all the normal pre-fish doing, how would you break it down and go and sort of cover it in a normal pre-fish day?
I'm straight looking for the flow areas we're flowing them first, which you just got to start off on like a bend in the river that's there, like a natural river. Obviously, you'll see the flow run over the flats there, or if you can't see it, it will be flowing over the flats. It just depends on what the weed is directly on those flats as to where that flow is directed. So that's what changes it all the time. Also changes Mulwala as to how much water they're letting out the river or the canal.
Yep.
As to whether the water's basically flowing more out around sort of, let's call it Tiffin side.
Yep.
Or New South or Victorian side. that's the main things to break down Mulwala for a start if you haven't been there for a little while.
And it is an unusual beast. It did take me, a couple of years to sort of even start getting my head around that whole situation, because the first time when I drove down from Queensland, never, hadn't fished it since I was a kid. And back then we just threw, barty grubs. It was no lure fishing sort of scenario. And get down and fish it and go, no, I've got this sus, found some flow. Then turn back up the next year to go in it again, and there was like no flow where I was fishing the year before. I'm like, why is this? And then, got to talk to guys like you, and you're saying, because the weeds built up and it's changed the flow of the dam, or, the Yarrawonga canal's closed, or the dam's open, or so there's a lot more into your research that's got to go into to work out, as you said, whether it's the flows going different sizes of the dams, isn't it?
Yeah, that's right. And I guess that's why Prefish is probably pretty important, because you want to know where it's been. So we could go and fish there in an area tomorrow that's got flow running through it, but that might be because they have opened up that canal a lot more and the water's pushing straight through that weed. And you'll go, there's a lot of flow here, but it hasn't been there, for the sort of 2 or 3 weeks beforehand for those fish to move into that area.
Yep.
So I guess that's probably why Prefish is fairly important. But I mean, it's pretty obvious to see where the river, where the river bends are, and you just picture where that water would flow straight across. And that's where you start.
All right, so we've got Harry sent me through the postcode. Winner for tonight for that little cod pack is Jacob Curry 2680. So Jacob, if hopefully you're still on and you're watching, because if you haven't sent me a message by the midnight tonight, you won't get your prize. Jamie Beer actually won it last week and didn't get back to me, didn't know. So Jacob, you're the winner of the postcode prize. You need to send me your address details to Macquarie's Dam Fishing Facebook page, just in a message, and I will post them out to you tomorrow. I'm still going for Harry's box. We'll get Harry out here in a minute. There's no sort of hurry to get Harry out now that it's school holidays. He doesn't have to go to bed in a hurry. I can see you smiling every now and again. You're reading a few of these questions I'm not actually bringing up. All right. Dave Lawson wants to know if he can show us some dance moves. That's probably one of the clean ones I can bring up. This is a really good one. So what's your best memory in your fishing life?
Oh, it's simple. Winning the Cod Nationals with a person who I probably won't fish with again, my son, Ruben. Easily. Yeah.
By far.
Yeah. The feeling, I guess I think the dash was the last day for that one. I can't remember, but anyway, I'm sure it was the dash, and I think I'd caught an 80 and Ruben just caught a 60 or 65. And they were never going to catch it. So that feeling then was, for him and I was just, yeah.
So you knew straight, you were that far in front that nobody could catch you.
They weren't going to catch us, yeah. Especially, but highly unlikely for anyone in the dash to catch to beat an 80 and a 60 something. So yeah, that's and for the people who don't know, that's Ruben's your son. So you've won the biggest cod comp or the most prestigious cod comp going around, the hardest cod comp to win. You've won it with your son, and that's your best fishing moment, and I can see why. All right, thanks for that question, Danny. Fish on. Another one down here from Christy again, and I'm pretty sure these aren't coming from Christy. They might be coming from somebody else in that family. But do you like to fish up the river or just stick around the lake? Personally, the lake. When we keep talking about the Cod Nationals, but when I'm fishing, I like to think that I'm fishing preparing myself for that. And it doesn't always happen, but I'm a believer that if you want to win numbers of fish comps, you've got to be fishing in the lake.
Yep.
There's different scenarios, but definitely the lake for me, Trent.
Which sort of goes on to Jack's question, which is the next one down. Do you prefer to fish flats or deeper water during the middle of the day? So comp hours, we miss the prime time morning bite, we miss the prime time afternoon bite. We've got to work our way through the day. Are you fishing, considerably? If you say you went into the flats, you got 5:45s. Would you hang around on the flats all day, or would you try and move out into those deeper channels, catch those deeper fish then?
I'd stay in the flats personally.
Yeah, you'd still stay in there. Yeah.
Your casts have just got to be a bit better, I guess, a bit more on your target in the middle of the day or when the sun's out.
And I suppose that's a hint too for anyone that's wanting to get into it, and people that jump on these sort of forums to learn a little bit. It's no use going out there and casting and missing your mark. I mean, you really, if you really want to catch big numbers of cod, you want to learn how to cast first, don't you?
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I mean it's not crucial. Like Harry fished amazingly well on the weekend. His setup was basic, I guess. Not really right at all, but he just kept casting, and his casts were, some of them were okay, but most of them were just a cast. And he still did really well. So
you had him in the right spots.
Yeah, there was fish in the area, definitely.
Which does help.
Yeah.
What was your ratio of fish to each of you? Like, and I'm not being smart here. Like, he obviously held his own.
Oh, definitely. I reckon he had me. If I hadn't, and I did tell him at one point, said, mate, if this was a general Sunday, you'd be going in the water. Because he might catch three fish. I've caught 3 fish and I've caught nothing. I'm like, just settle down a bit, young fella. Like.
Yeah.
But he wasn't at work, so it didn't really matter.
That's it. We'll keep going through. Now Trent's logged on to his account and reckons that it's totally crispy. It's not Trent. When I'm struggling to see him, do you pre-fish with anything on your hooks, or do you just catch fish in the area during pre-fish?
No, just hooks on. Only because a few years back I fished a pre-fish for a full week or a week and a half before the Nationals and took the hooks off. And every time I got a hit, I marked it on the sounder, and I got hits everywhere. The sounder was lit up, spots everywhere. Went back there during the Nationals and didn't get a bump off any of the spots. So now I'm like, nah, when I can get the hooks in them, I'll leave the hooks in them.
Just enjoy them.
Yeah.
No, awesome question. All right, Harry's just walked into the room. We better pick out a person to draw out the box. So there's a couple of questions earlier on that I really liked. Anyone that stood out for you, Rick?
Hello.
Hey, Harry. Yeah, look, there's lots of good.
I think I really like Trent Tullock, I think it was earlier. One of his questions was quite good. I think we'll go with Trent. How do you break down a waterway?
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. So Trent, what you have at the moment is a couple of minutes to tell us that you're actually still on watching. There's a little bit of delay in the internet, so we'll give you a couple of minutes to tell us that you're still on there. If you can answer that in the next couple of minutes, then Harry will draw a prize out of here, and then, yep, look, he's on, Harry. So, Rick, I'll put you in the green room if you want to go and have a leak or, go and get a drink. Go and do that now, and we'll draw this out, and we'll bring you back on to finish off.
Good day. Thanks, mate.
All right, Harry, how you going?
I'm going good.
Going good. You found the old sunnies. You got the Goldie's maintenance hat on. That's good to know. So Trent's on there. He's told us he's on there. Let's find out what Trent's got out of yours. And get to dig deep. Right, Trent, don't forget that when Harry draws this out, we'll know what it is. And you've got the choice of taking what Harry's drawn out or what is actually in the box. So, let's have a look, Harry. Don't show him.
What?
Ooh. All right, Trent. So what you have to do now is tell us what's in the box. If you want the box or if you want the prize that Harry's drawn. So we'll just get your last few questions through because we'll come back and finish with Rick in a minute. But Trent's out there. We want to know if you want the prize that Harry's drawn out or you want what's in the box. So we're just waiting on Trent to tell us what he wants. You're not giving him any hints on which way to go, are you? Don't give him too many hints. We know it's in the box. I trust Harry's pick. All right, you go and get Harry's. All right, so put the box back there. Harry's going to go through and find the prize. Not in that box, Harry. In the next one. Yep. In the bottom of there, I think they are. We've got boxes full of prizes here at the moment. Just pull the top stuff out, mate. Pull the top stuff out.
Oh,
So he's gone with your one. So let's see. Come on, he's waiting in anticipation. Don't bring it around yet. So you've got to grab a scarf out of the next one.
Oh, this one.
There you go.
Oh,
Oh yeah. Thanks. All right. So we're back. Sorry about that. Harry had to dig deep for this one. So you better show him what he's won, mate.
oh.
All right. So you have got yourself a new ATC Sea Fishing